And welcome back. It's Kotow for a pretty rare Wednesday stream. I do have a guy typing in the background there furiously. That is Mr. Hood. How you doing, good sir?
I'm doing okay considering the circumstances.
Yes. Well, I usually don't do a Wednesday stream, and again, this will be one of those where I'll be looking and looking in the backgrounds for the. I'm sorry, I had a little bit of feedback there. Looking at the match in the background, but mostly talking about other subjects. So just be aware of that, guys. I know that's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's going to be one of those episodes. So, but so what? What grinds your gears, Mister Hood? What do you typing
Oh,
away
it's not just
furiously
my
about?
it's not just my gears. It's the gears of listen, the majority at least of the community, 80% of the community is in agreement. And Bradley can, tell me that we don't play enough or whatever, or maybe his idea of the community only exists in the War Rights Discord where the only people that talk in there consistently have a very favorable view of the devs and semi-worship them. But everyone I've talked to, and they represent hundreds of people, have had a problem for a long time now of the developers seemingly not understanding that the changes they make unilaterally affect their core player base negatively most of the time. And when that opinion is expressed to them directly, you get kind of counter-attacked by these, I don't know, semi-toxic public type players that think residents are evil, and anything the devs say is gospel, and there's no reason to change it because of they have their vision or whatever. Not, of course, acknowledge the fact that the developer's vision has flip-flopped multiple times already. I mean, the best example is accuracy update. Years ago, people complained about the guns not being accurate, it's not realistic, and how they wanted the guns to be more accurate. They said back then, well, historically speaking, no one in 1860 fucking 3 or 2, whenever the Mayor campaign went off, I forget, um, was trained
62,
enough.
yes.
Was it 6-3?
62.
6-2. 6-2. No one was trained enough to shoot accurately, so they were trying to enable the effect of a lack of training for your general soldier during the campaign, which is fine, and they designed their game around it. They designed the maps, everything around it. Fine. Works fine. Here we are 3 years later. They've made every gun laser accurate. It's changed the entire dynamic of the game, and I think, and a lot of us think, for the negative. And they are now saying, well, historically accurate the guns are accurate because the rifles should be accurate, right? So they don't have themselves a cohesive vision of a lot of things they do, personally. And if they do, it'd be great if they could express that, because no one knows what's coming next. They say one thing about what they're working on, which maybe comes out once a year, and the next update has nothing to do with it. The last thing we heard was they're working on, what was it, in-game clan and stat tracking stuff,
Service
right?
records was the last
Service records.
announced planned update.
Correct. Service records, right? So they're
And
going to
that
make
that was just
in
shy of a year
tokens.
ago. I believe that was April. I could be wrong. I believe that was April.
Yeah, and the next thing they do is they make every gun 60% more accurate, which is odd. It just seems like no one really expected it. And most people I've talked to don't seem to like it very much. Excuse me. Because the maps weren't designed for it, the game wasn't designed for it. It makes the game kind of a stagnant fucking mess, where everyone's just kind of shooting each other in a pin fire-wise. It makes the game a little boring, not very cinematic, and while being well-intentioned, and I think a right move to make the guns a little more accurate and make Buck and Ball way less effective than it should have been, or than it was anyways, they've gone a little too far, and it's really hard for them to really acknowledge that if you tell them that. And not to mention today, the big shit show today is that they've limited NCOs again to 4 total, no matter if you have the restrictions on or off, because they're worried about their snipers that they put in the game being used by Rambos who are running off and sniping, which again, I don't understand how you couldn't have possibly have seen that to be the outcome when you put a scoped weapon in a game with no scopes. That's how it works in every game with a sniper. The snipers are off, fucking off doing whatever, right? In this game especially, no one has scopes. If there's only fucking 4, they're not gonna fucking hang out in the line and get shot, right? Obviously. There was a problem with Rambos before on public servers. It's not gonna make it any better. So instead of solving the problem of they're having their scopes, fucking off and being too effective, because of course they are, right? They decided to cut the whole number of NCOs to 4. Most events have unlimited NCOs on because a lot of organized units have lots of NCOs, and it's nice to have your corporals and sergeants, whatever, be the rank there on your whatever unit. It's just fun to do. It's helpful to see for cohesion, to see where my guys are and who am I talking to and where's my NCO. It helps in the pubs too for the same reason, because especially for pubs actually, if I don't know what's going on and I can't see anything besides maybe a star if he's alive and a couple NCOs and they're all over the place, then it's hard to find out where I'm supposed to be going. So the backlash has been heavy on a fairly minor thing, mainly because it's coupled with the fact that the devs don't seem to listen to us, and they don't seem to care about what we have to say for whatever reason.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess just to back up a little bit, we covered that was a lot of ground.
Sorry.
No, that's
Sorry
fine.
about that.
That's fine. I gotta get you on the podcast succeed of how to break into chapters.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll stick with the NCO thing right now. So I guess just for a little bit of background, and maybe you could talk about this. We've had this issue a bit before, as far as the officer and the NCO restriction a couple of years ago, and that kind of created a pretty big reaction. I know you were involved in that pretty significantly. If you want to talk a little bit about what happened back then and the reaction and then the system that came out of that.
With the officers, right? The limiting
Yes.
of yeah. So like 3 years ago, they had again another silent update. Nothing was talked about before. Nothing was hinted at. They just had an update and said, hey, basically the bug that exists in the game where if you go on a drill camp and you turn off unit restrictions, if you then move to a map like a normal game, it stays off. Now this helps out organized events a lot because you can have pretty large units can have 2 officers, right? Which is really helpful when you're trying to organize anybody because your officer gets killed all the fucking time. Just all the time he gets shot. So if you have one more guy, it's a lot easier to keep cohesion and a momentum to the game overall when you have two officers. The bonus being also all your NCOs get to play as NCOs, and they feel like they feel nice and they feel like a little bit special. Like, oh, I'm a corporal, I get to wear my corporal tags, or I'm a sergeant, I get to wear my sergeant tags. Anyways, they took it out. I made a post on suggesting to go backwards. The entire community unilaterally was in agreement with this idea, and they all responded. I think it's the most upvoted suggestion in the history of war rights on that Discord, anyways. And they did reverse it, saying they were going to add it as a official UI thing at some point down the line. Now, 3 years later, that hasn't happened. They haven't made it like a cohesive coding UI thing. It's still the same exploit as it was 3.5 years ago. But it was fine. The game didn't blow up. It didn't split the fucking community in half like they always say it does, where it's like these like developing sub branches and it's going to split the community up. Didn't happen. And today they just did it again. They just did it with NCOs. Now NCOs only have 4. It doesn't matter if it's on or off. There's 4 NCOs. And no one can really find a good reason why. They say it's because they wanted to keep Rambos from running off of scopes and doing weird shit. And also the classic historical authenticity, which again makes 0 sense. Because if you're worried about there being too many sergeant majors for a company, well, you only have 1 corporal for the fucking company. That's not historical authentic at all. It should be there should be goddamn 10 of these motherfuckers around. You know what I mean?
There also shouldn't be any sergeant major in a company either. But I'll leave
aside,
and we don't have battalions right now. We used to, which is an interesting. Not to dwell on this because again, I don't really care about it. But we still have up to full colonel rank, and we still have field grade officers and sergeant major as battalion staff and regimental staff.
And no battalions.
But now that we have 2 companies, the old rank structure was carried over from when it was only a single regiment. Again, that's why there's this kind of weird system here. And the issue with the sergeant major and the first sergeant is they can have scopes in the game with certain units, with the Whitworth, and that's what they were trying to limit. Which I agree with you, Diffuse, is something that needs to be looked at from a balance perspective. But I also agree with you. This was not the way to do it.
No, I mean it seems like they're just hitting shit with hammers until it gets in the shape they want, as opposed to actually worrying about the actual core issue and addressing it. They're worried about scopes. Limit the scopes. Just limit the amount. Just add some code in where only a hard limit of people can have scopes on any given side or any given company, and that solves your problem. Limit the whole NCO thing to 4 only is just weird. Only sergeants and sergeant majors get the scopes anyway. So why are corporals getting hit and limited? It doesn't make any sense. Why are corporals and I don't know. It's strange, right?
Well, yeah, it is. And again, the reason I'm bringing this up, I was reading what you were saying, Diffuse. They need files and drills added to the tool set. Yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, I'm not a coder, so I'll leave that to people that are smarter on that shit than me. I got a
Yeah.
goddamn all my education was in. I got all BAs, MAs, and etc. I do not have any S after any of my degrees. But anyway, um, it is the game is in this somewhat, at least from what I could see, amorphous state where not all the systems are kind of in the same bracket. Some of the systems are left over from the days of 150 server pop in two companies. It goes to maps, balances, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the game is in alpha, we could say, and they're still developing it, and I have some um, sympathy for that argument. But then they'll get mad if I send up suggestions. You don't have to listen to them. But if we're saying the game isn't full, then okay, let me voice. And not saying they're not, but let's just don't be mad when people do. But the particular issue for here is so in game, as far as the publics go, you see no difference at all with this change because you've always had 4. Nobody on public
Correct.
server really ever takes off class restrictions. So to you, you're like,
No.
what the hell are we bitching about? You're like, this is the same thing. What do you care? But it is a little bit different from regimental play. Now you could say, well, why do we have to cater to regimental play? I'm like, well, you're not. You've done something to to hurt regimental play, to go from 4 sniper rifles to 2 sniper rifles is what you've done per company.
Correct.
I think that's the impact on the regimental play versus the gain for the pub play. I don't think is I guess to use a euphemism for me is the juice is not worth the squeeze.
No, you're adding at most. At most, I don't think it's actually mathematically possible for this to happen. But at most, you're cutting like 8 scope. You're removing the ability for 8 people on any given server to take a scope, right? If it was 2 Whitworths and 2 Sharps. Now it's impossible. Keep in mind, it's usually a Whitworth unit or company, maybe 2 of them, or a Sharps one. So in reality, you're now limiting 4 people or 2 people, depending on the map, from having scopes. But on top of that, you're fucking over like 85% of your player base who's been playing this the way it is with unlimited COs forever and has not caused any problems. It's insane. It doesn't make any sense. It's bonkers, dude. Just limit the actual number of scoped rifles you can have instead of limiting the amount of NCOs you can have. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Or leave corporals online. Like, maybe, I don't know. There's all kinds of things they could have done that would have made this better.
There's a lot of computations to get around it. And yes, Diffuse asked, wait, did they patch out the unlimited class restrictions? Yes, they did.
Basically, yeah.
Now, I did see a post from Trusty, which I interpreted as they're going to fix it, but it was after a long string of replies, and I'm not sure if I understood it correctly, so I could be wrong on that. I was going through the text chat, and it, again, when you get to replies, buried deep, it's like, okay, are they saying they're fixing it? I don't know. I hope they will. And again, I can understand the problem they want to solve, and that's all fine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
But
it just seems to be a common theme with them kind of just taking the community as a whole for granted. And I'm not going to lie to you, man. One of these days there's going to be a break, and they're going to do something they're not going to recover from. There's already been people talking about boycotting the game over this accuracy thing, which I think is too fucking drastic. At least give them a chance to fucking acknowledge the problem. And no one's really telling them right now anymore after their magic 100% update fix thing that there was a problem. Now, if you tell them there's a problem and they don't listen to you, maybe now you can think about that. But I don't like doing drastic shit from the beginning to give them a chance to fucking see if they want to address the issue or not.
No,
to
be clear, the NCO hotfix came out like this afternoon. I don't even think it's like 6 hours old yet, so there might be a patch for this tomorrow.
Yeah.
So again, I don't want to jump on the devs too hard. I want to say I don't like it, but I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, the thing is ruined. Okay, let's see if we can find a solution to it, or maybe it's just they didn't realize this would have the knock-on effect. Try to be good faith as much as I can. I don't know why, but I try.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're not wrong. To try to give them the benefit of the doubt. The problem is, you can only do. I mean, I've been playing this game for like 5 or 6 years. Every time there's an update, they say things that are impossible, that they can't do or won't do for whatever reason, and then sometimes, months, a year later, they flip it. They 180 it. and it's now the opposite of what they've said. So it's hard to tell when they're being earnest about whatever is and isn't possible. They don't really talk to the community before they they did the 5 to 10 player test thing came out. I think they put it up for like a week, maybe. They said they had it on the test server. They now say that it wasn't, no one would play it, right? No one would play it, so they couldn't get any good data. But then they still rolled out the update. So like that doesn't make any sense to me, because I remember that time there were people playing the test server, and not to mention we had people volunteering to test their 400 player server like as an event community. Like I've done it 3 or 4 times, or maybe 3 times, not 4. Probably 3 times now. I've been like, hey, we'll organize a time to get everyone on your test server because it's not filling, because the game pop is not that fucking good. So a 400 player test server is unironically a third or half, depending on the fucking time frame you're talking about, of the community trying to get on and play the game at the same time. So we had organized that for them, which is fine. We told them what time we're going to do it. Hey, this is what we want to do. Set these maps, whatever, and we'll pop on and you can get your data. Worked fine. Now they just don't do that, and they say, well, we can't fill a test server with new stuff because no one will join it. Like, well, we've done it before. Just ask. You don't want to ask is the problem. You think like you asking the community to test things like asking for permission. At least that's what Bradley said. He said that running anything by anybody in the community is like asking permission for something, and he doesn't want to do that. But that's Bradley. Again, he's not a PR genius, and frankly, he probably should stop commenting so severely so quickly, because frankly it hurts the whole image as a whole. It's just not a good fucking look to dismiss people's opinions out of hand because you don't think they've quote played enough of the game, or are not informed enough, or they're not the community. When the community's telling you something, you go, well, you're not really the community. You're just a loud minority. Is fucking weird. It's just a weird thing to do as a human being, anyways. But yeah.
I don't think it's a great PR department move, to be honest with you.
No, they need a PR person. They need someone to tell people what's happening. I mean, that's it. What game have you ever played where they don't tell you anything about what they're working on? Ever. There's an update one day and it's random. Nothing.
It does.
There's not a game that exists.
It's the other games that I play, and I don't do too many. It does. I'm not a huge fan of the communication strategy for the war rights. I'll be honest. I don't know if it's a Danish thing or if it's a European thing or what it is, but it feels very. I wouldn't say left in. No, I would say left in the dark. My view has been, and I'm going to be on a soapbox a second. Before you start doing 500 player servers, and before you have the test server up, the service record with the toxicity updates you were doing should have been implemented.
Yeah, before you let everyone loose in a public server full of people screaming racial slurs all the time.
Yes, and you have said you don't like modding them.
Yeah.
Specifically,
well, they being the devs, by the way.
Yes, the devs. You specifically have said they will not moderate those servers, and I don't blame you. But, if you're going to leave the server up and it's unmoderated and there's no recourse to try to restrict it or mitigate it in any way, you're going to get people to buy the game, but then they're not going to stick around, and you're still in that hole. There's a reason why, you've gone up a little bit, but for the most part, you've been fairly steady. It's been very hard to grow the overall player base. There's been some ups. I mean, this last couple months have not been over last year. But I'm still not doing horrible. But it's not a growing game. It's a steady state game, and you get people coming in, but they're not sticking around. And my contention is a good chunk of that is having an unmoderated server like that be your main entry point. And you have a stated solution that you said you're going to do, which I'll give you.
A year and a half ago.
A year and a half. Well, yeah, a year ago, and it's still not there. Yet you're still moving forward with these other things. It's like, okay, is service records the new horses here?
Yeah, is that ever going to come out? I mean, yeah, the things they have teased, which is rare, I don't think they followed through. The last thing I think they teased that they followed through was artillery. That I could think of. They're like, hey, we're working on artillery, guys, and then artillery came out a little while later, right? Everything else, whether it's horses or, I'm trying to think. I don't think they teased anything since artillery, and besides service records, I don't think I can remember off the top of my head. I mean, we had water waiting and shit that came out of nowhere.
I don't think that was I don't think that was a.
No, there was no talk about it.
Player server size increase was mentioned beforehand.
Oh, that's a good point. I do. You are right about that, and that was unanimously fucking agreed to be a good thing. By the way, but that was them catching up, not trying to preempt a potential game that's not it's not gonna show itself. This game has been rock steady since 2023 for your peak players and average players, and they are trying their best to capture like some new wave of people that are gonna reinvigorate the game with money and player base. Which is the whole reason why I think this accuracy update and 500 player thing coincide with this half-off sale. It's to get new people in and hope they spend money and play it.
Well,
but long term,
it has to their credit. They have hit their top player count. But again, I'll be curious to see what the average player count is, because again, the top player count happens. You had a full 500-man server, so you had the gimmick, and then you have the regimental play.
Happening.
So keep in mind, so a 500 player count server. So that's 500, but then I got to 1,400. So where's my other 900 coming from?
Yeah.
Coming from regimental play.
It's easy math. Now, again, they don't think that's either they don't think or they just won't believe or acknowledge the fact that most people in this game are in organized events and they do it on the weekends. And that's just math. I mean, again, if you have a 500-player server filled up and you peaked at 1,400, where's the other 1,000 people at? Right? They're playing in the 3 big North American events at that time. And when they're telling you they don't like a thing that you've changed is not fun or is hurting them, you should probably listen to them. I mean, it says in their fucking Steam page that they're community focused and they have all this stuff about clan stuff. But every time it's an update, it's like almost the exact opposite of what anyone in the clan sphere is asking for. And it's almost always marketed towards whatever the public player they think they want. Again, the 5-second spawn timer came about because apparently, this is from Trusty, said he saw 2 people talking about being dead for a long time, and they didn't like that. So they changed the core gameplay for the entire game, right? And it caused a whole big issue. And we're like, why don't you just give us the option to? And they said, no, it'll develop to schism the community and it'll be bad. Except we found a way to work around that, and there are events, at least 2 that I know of, that run 10 seconds. And the community did not fucking explode. It's fine. Nothing is
And to be clear on the 10 to 5 second, that was back when the server size max was 300 and most of events were 250. We talk. 350 now is the 5 second.
500 player server maybe that's a good thing to have 5 second spawn timer. Again, what people asked for back in the day before 5 second came out was, hey, add another company with 2 more regiments, and they said no. So that would solve the same problem, and that's what people asked for. They said they did their own thing, and it has a bunch of caveats to it and things that limit control. If you have 6 individual companies to pick from, if you play an event, you can say, hey guys, only pick 4, and it's fine. It still leaves the pubs open to do all this stuff. They want to spread out the player base and have them spawn more. But the problem with that is it gives more people control over the player base, and that's not just units, not just regiments, but public players. They won't add something that limits the amount of people that can they won't ever add a thing where like the officer of your company gets to decide if you're out of line or you get to play that role, like other game, like Squad does that. If you're a squad leader in the game Squad and someone in your unit in your squad's not listening to you, you go, hey, you're done. Kick them out of the squad. They lose their special kit they had, right? They don't want to do that because they think that the people in charge will negatively affect your average player, which it probably would. But instead of doing that, they decided that, okay, we'll just limit the amount of people that can play a special thing anyways, instead of letting the people have control over it, which hurts everybody. It hurts literally everybody to protect basically the experience of people that already aren't playing the game the way they intended in the first place. They don't want you to run around on the line. Right? It's shown for in the game mechanics. Tickets and stamina and accuracy go down if you're out of line. Right? So instead of punishing those people directly, they punished everyone as a whole to try to get people to conform to their way of the way they think the game should be. And it's having the opposite effect. It's making people in the organized community not want to participate anymore in the game as a whole. I mean, it feels like, when you're the only people, and keep in mind, these servers aren't cheap. They cost $1,000, something like that, a year to run, all community funded. and you're getting your control over those servers and the way you want to play the game taken away from you over time, it just breeds animosity. And eventually, people just won't play a fun game anymore. It won't be a thing. People
No,
go, you know what? I have all these
yeah,
people. I'll play a game that's more accessible to me and my people.
It's a significant financial investment. It's is not a small thing, and you want to have control over that investment with the servers. And Diffuse, you're right. I agree. It is the pod or the public officer Discord can be okay. It really depends on who's on for modding, and it can be a rough experience if you're coming in. But it's still better than the unmitigated
disaster.
There is no the 500 player server is a jungle. It just is. Which again is fine. No, it's certainly not fine to be honest with you.
It's bad. No, it's the biggest reason when people post negative reviews. You got to imagine how many people are going to actually post negative reviews in a game that they don't think they care about, right? But most of the negative ones that exist are like, hey, yeah, racism's horrible, and the devs don't talk to me or talk to anybody. It's what most of them are. The overall rating's positive, but most people aren't going to make a negative review in a game they don't care about. They're going to just fucking disappear, right?
No,
so,
and again, that's it's why your player count, despite the sales, despite all that, we'll see what happens over the next couple months, but it's the past several years. It's usually genuinely flat. It's gone up a little bit in the past 2 years, but no, it's I mean, I'm not doing that video right now, so I'll wait a couple months before I do that video. But yeah, it's not like this game is skyrocketing in it. It's steady state, which again can be fine.
Steady, and this stability is again down to the organized community. The game has been stable because people have found the niche they want, and they got people who also like niche, and they do that. Trusty seems to be concerned about the game splintering or something, or having these like separate branches. It already exists. You have a organized, like European style hardcore historical rule event. You have events with Steam Chat. You have campaign events. You have events with no Steam Chat. You know what I mean? And they're all over the place, and they all have different rules and different everything. But people are still playing. They're coming back. I've been coming back every fucking Saturday for 5 years. And I promise you, if I didn't have an organized, if I had to play pub servers by myself, or with any group at all, I wouldn't be here. I played, and originally back when there were like 150 player total servers on pub for a long time. I tried to play the game for 3 months, and I stopped playing. I only came back because someone had like, hey, I'm in a group, you should come play with us and play an organized event. And here I am, right? Most people, that's what most people react to this game with. They go, oh, I played the game for a bit, but it's just not really that fun, frankly, to just kind of get shocked as shit all the time and have slurs screamed at you by random people. While it's entertaining as like an afternoon, but are you going to keep long-term people playing? And that's what sells the games. People aren't going to buy a game when they see it has less than 30 fucking people playing it. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, it also is, I'll just say this from a streamer, tiny YouTube. When I say tiny, I'm micro. But, it's I got to take many steps to try to record here. If something gets said, I usually have to either edit it out or nuke the gaming stream, and it's already a small game, so it's the incentives, from the YouTube streamer perspective, it's important.
Correct.
It gives you advertisement. It gets people excited. They're like, oh man, how many people do you think joined the game watching like Pixelated Apollo and General Cody and shit?
A lot of people did. I know a lot of people did. None of them are around anymore. I don't think. Not very many of them. Yeah, man. It's like your main marketing tool is YouTubers making your fucking game look interesting.
It's free advertising.
It is.
But again,
people aren't doing it anymore.
Yeah, because again, the risks outweigh the benefits. Like it's like, okay, why am I going to have my channel nuked because I got some whoever screaming whatever they got, and then, but again, there's no recourse to moderate it, at least on the pub server. That's why I do mostly events, and if I do pubs, I stay a little bit more zoomed out, so I don't hear as much.
People screaming, yeah.
But leaving that,
it's bonkers.
Yeah, leaving that piece aside, I guess talking a little bit more on the ballistics piece. Well, let's stay on the regimental piece here. So the NCOs. So. Why you mentioned that the people like to wear their tags as an NCO. So you talk a little bit how, at least from the 42nd perspective, how that plays in your units, how the regimental NCOs have their ranks, and I don't want to say role play, but can have that
It's
associated.
immersive. It's a little thing of pride. Yeah. So I don't know how it does for every other unit, but most people have ranks that attribute some level of either veterancy or responsibility in that unit, right? So we have lots of corporals and sergeants, whatever, and when they get on the game, they get to wear their rank. I'm gonna go be a corporal, whatever you are. I'm corporal, whoever the fuck, right? I get to be corporal in the game, and people can see my chevrons, and it's easier for them to organize if they want to split out. But also, it's just a sense of pride and immersion. I earned a rank of whatever in this group. I get to wear it in the field. Like same way how an officer in any group is the officer on the field. It's a continuity thing. It's immersive, and it's fun. It's just fun to wear the rank that you think you have, right? It's all made up in the end, but whatever. It didn't hurt anything. It caused no issues at all, right? So why not let people have it? And it's good for organizing in general, because it does help to be able to, hey, corporal, whoever, take 5 guys and go, and they go follow that guy's chevron anywhere he goes. They won't get lost from him, running around. It helps. And to just remove it unilaterally seems completely arbitrary. And pointless. There's no gain. There's no benefit to doing it, really. If your benefit is to lower the number of sniper rifles on a public server, I guess you did that. Except the harm outweighs the benefit by like a factor of 10. There's no it hurts everybody a lot for no real gain for them, especially for an organized event. There's no real gain for that at all. No one's really taking sniper rifles anyways.
No, and this is again for a smaller thing. Hey, Mike, how you doing, brother? For the reenactment, I don't know if they've done it too much, but a lot of times people do research on reenactments, and maybe I need to have Brisby in here to talk about this. Sometimes they'll do research on people, and like, okay, I'm going to be Corporal so and so from this unit.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, I've seen people change their tags to like be the real people in that whatever unit at that battle when they can look at records. I think that's a cool aspect of it. And now you can't do that, really. So now you've limited reenactment play on top of organized events. Again, the benefit of... by the way, not every map has sniper rifles. So it's like, most maps don't. So it's like, what? You're talking like what? Maybe, I want to say maybe there's 6 or 7 maps where a sniper rifle is even an option.
I think that's
right?
I think that's about right. I could be wrong on that, but that sounds right to me.
I'm thinking like Pry, Grist, Mill, but that's cavalry, so no, probably not. Cavalry doesn't have scopes; they're carbines. So not them, not Pry Ford. It would be what? Hills counterattack. The 2 Eastwoods maps, Eastwood Skirmish, Eastwoods for the 42nd, and the 2 Sharpshooter maps, which is I think Hatches and Hills. And then
Nico.
I don't know where else Palmetto's. That's cavalry.
That's cavalry. You're right. You're right.
They don't get scopes.
Yeah, you're right. I think that might be it. We got the drill camp maps now too, which might have a few more.
True, but none of them have footwear or sharps on them.
No, it's all cav, isn't it?
It's all either cavalry or it's just normal dudes.
Yeah, I think you're right. So yeah, I mean it's a very small. Again, what's the impact? What's juice worth the squeeze here? I guess is the main argument for that one. So. Anything else on the regimental, or you want to talk a little bit more about the not regiment, the NCOs, or do you want to talk a little bit more about the ballistics?
I mean, I like to talk about the ballistics. So that's another issue I think that's happening. But nothing I've said in the regiments hasn't been said before. All that the core argument, if you get nothing else out of anything that's being said here, all the organizational units that keep this game alive, whether you like it or not, it is the lifeblood of the game. They just want options. They don't care if the pubs have an update that affects the baseline game. Give us the option on the $1,000 servers we pay for as a community to change the things to the way that we want. They're not necessarily we're not asking them to add in new things for us. We want things to be able to change to things the way they had worked before if we don't like whatever the new thing is. Ballistics is a great example. Most organized units that I've talked to, and even a good chunk of the pubs, don't really like the update. And I think a good example is what's happening right now on the game you're in right now. The accuracy is so accurate, and the maps are not designed for it, that if you're in a place and you're shooting at somebody and they have no other option but to stand there and shoot back with you, whoever's moving is losing. Right now, CSA has lost the point. They will not take it back. Nothing they could do, even if they had an entire team over there that was organized and this team wasn't, they can do nothing. they're going to get shot to shit. It's an open field. There's not that many angles to go to, and they're off point. They have less tickets because they're being attacked. They're going to die. This game is already over. It ended fucking 10 minutes ago. It's 30 minutes on the fucking clock, by the way. All the games are shorter now. They're not as interesting. Nothing's going to happen right now. Here's an example. Look, right side attack. They're going to try on the your left now. They're going to try to attack the fucking the right side of Union. They're probably all going to die, frankly. Because all they have to do is turn to the right and shoot most of them or just counter them out. It's just not there's nothing you can do about it. Accuracy's too much. The maps are too small. Right? Now, the overall idea isn't bad. Buck and ball was overpowered, and rifles could have been a little more accurate. The problem is they made every rifle 60% more accurate as a baseline, which is just bonkers. So now the game feels a lot more like a generic fucking shooter. It just, I am spawning now fast as shit because I have a 5-second spawn timer, and I'm killing people and dying super often because everything I have is a laser beam. It's an accurate rifle, and it's not an enjoyable game. Now, if they had maybe talked to the community or tested a bit, they could have got this feedback. I don't know. I know maybe one person I've heard on the organized community that likes the way things are right now. And most of the pubs don't seem to like it that much. Well, I'm not going to say most. A large portion of the pubs complained about maps being one-sided and over really fast. And right now, here's a one-sided map that's going to be over very quickly. Right? This match maybe took a total of 20 minutes. No, 25-ish minutes. About to end. And you know.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think the Union screwed up. They countercharged in another area. They might actually punch through. We'll see.
Yeah, I see that. They spread out, so who knows? Yeah. I mean, there's always a factor. There's a huge chunk of people on the cornfield doing fuck all.
Yeah, I mean, that unit was out there and it's supposed to be on this line, and then this unit over here charged that way for some reason. Now that kind of.
But either way, I mean,
even then, these guys are still almost holding
the fuck out of the Confederacy, and the Confederacy didn't really do anything wrong. They just got outshot because they have to sit in an open fucking field on point. Or they lose. And so they sat on the fence line, got shot to shit by the Union in the woods and on the flanks, and they fell back, and the Union took the point. And then they sat there on the point. Now the fucking rebels attack point again with less tickets, and they're in open fields too now. So it's like, what are they gonna do? They're just gonna die. You know what I mean?
Yep. And so one company basically, and even then, I would argue that was complex. You didn't need to go forward. He moved his men forward as opposed to just shooting. And then he, he was fighting two and a half companies from what it looked like, and he still held.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think all they need to do is just tune it down a little bit.
Yep.
Just tune it down a little bit. It's not a bad update. Just make it, instead of 60%, maybe make it 20% for every rifle. So it's a little more accurate, but you can still, make lines and make attacks and do volleys. I don't know if you noticed, no one's just making a line doing any volleys. They're making loose kind of gaggle fuck lines and independent firing because you don't have to organize yourself in a tight line anymore and give volleys. Yeah. What used to happen was this: they had a pretty good balance. I could spread out and take less individual casualties because we're harder to hit as a group, right? And I could maybe find cover or whatever. However, I'm easy to attack via like a charge, right? So if I'm defending the team, maybe I'm incentivized to spread out to save my casualties, right? However, the attacking team can form up in a tight groups, hit that spread out line. That spread line's going to lose that fucking attack because they're all spread out in a long, thin line. The enemy's concentrated, right? They would win that melee. So now the enemy team is forced to, all right, if they're going to concentrate, we have to concentrate. So now we have the rebel team, or the defending team, for example, making a tight line. And the best way to deal with a lack of over-accuracy is to volley. So the enemy's in a tight, cohesive formation. So are you. The best thing to do is to fire that tight, cohesive line in a big volley to make it for the lack of inherent accuracy. And now you have a nice balance of I can spread out, but I'm vulnerable to being attacked, and if I bunch up, I'm vulnerable to being shot at by another grouped unit and taking guys that way. Now it's the opposite. Now everyone's spread out, everyone's accurate. If you make any line that's tight at all, you're probably losing because you're just gonna get shot to shit by individuals all over the fucking place. And right now, the rebel team's having that issue right now. The enemy team is in one long, thin line on point. Just independent firing, and all they have is a little bit. All they do is run to cover, and they're stuck there. Anyone goes forward, they die. They flank, they die. They can't do anything about it. And before, you could make a tight, cohesive blob and try to make an attack all at once and maybe get it back. It still would suck. You'd be disadvantaged, but it's more likely. If anyone here were to make a charge across this field in a tight way, they'd probably die. Here's one right now. Here's one right now on the right side. Watch these guys get torn to shit.
We'll see. We'll see if any of them even make it.
Yeah. I mean, they're getting torn to shit. Only like not even.
Oh, one guy, Mr. Pope, he made it. Good job, Mr. Pope.
He did his best. So attacking is hard. It's now all it's very hard, and especially if you're the defender, if you end up losing the point, this is what's going to happen to you. It's a bloodbath. They're 2 morale states up. The casualties are probably going to be fucking abysmal for the Confederacy. Any map was not
Oh,
dense
that was
cover
Legion.
to use. Oh no.
Legion was killed. No.
Yeah. They just went a little too far. It's not a bad update. They just went a little too far with it. Now I wonder if they listened to us, because when I brought up that, hey, this might be a little too much from our testing, I was told I should play the game more by Mr. Bradley, and that I didn't put enough time in the game. Well, it's been a weekend. It's been 4 days. I played 8 matches of organized and a handful of public matches. It's the same opinion I had when I first saw the fucking numbers. It's a little too much. Everyone I know who I play with tends to agree.
Yeah.
So if they want to acknowledge it or not is up to them. But my bet is on probably not. They've only acknowledged like one thing ever, and that was back when they changed the NCO limitation like 3.5 years ago.
Yeah, but Diffuse,
It's kind of like get fucked.
I did see your comment. I liked it. He said the overtune is strong with campfire games. And
yeah, it's a complete pendulum shift. I mean, if their idea was to nerf buck and ball, right? Fine, but now you buffed the rifles as well. So now buck and ball is now never going to be picked. Because why would you do that when you can just shoot someone really accurately in any range?
No,
it used to be the default pick, and now it's not a pick. And all you're doing again is eliminating options for the community, the player. If I was an aggressive, commander, maybe I want to pick buck and ball and close the enemy. If I was, not that, maybe I'd pick a right. But now it's like if I'm picking a buck and ball, I'm losing. There's no, my gameplay style is no longer rewarded. It's not a choice for me. Either I pick a rifle, I'm gonna have a worse time playing the game, which sucks. I would agree. Most people like the idea of having some amount of choice in the way they play most of their games. That's why they have classes in games or loadouts, whatever. You get to have some customizability. There's not a lot in this game. You know what I mean? You can choose how you want to try to achieve the objective. Now you can't really do that. If you're making tight lines and trying to get volleys off right now, you're gonna lose. It's just not gonna work for you. And here's another. I mean, oh god. Yeah.
No, it was, and we could see the match is and I probably would have done the same thing as a Union team.
Take the point and sit there, man.
Yeah.
And you can see the casuals were even up in melee, and now that they've held the position, it's getting way worse for the Confederates because they're now stuck in the field getting shot to shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I mean, look at that. How long was that fucking match?
It stopped at 30. So that was when did the counterattack? I think the counterattack they started at engage. So. Yep, 30-20.
Maybe 25 minutes.
Let's see, for the total thing, yeah, under 20 minutes.
Yeah, man. I mean, but again, if you're marketing towards new people, I guess this is a strategy. I'm not going to say it's I mean, the sale's on. They did hit their peak player more than they did the year before by like 100 people. Their average player base is probably not going to change because it's still the core issues of new players is pubs are chaotic, frankly, and there's a lot of fucking racial slurs being used in voice chat. And right now there's no way to stop that. So if you play for a couple days, you're going to get probably, if you're not yourself one of these people, you're probably going to get annoyed with either the music spamming or the racism or the general chaos of the thing. And if you don't find a regiment, you're not going to play the game anymore. Most people play the game for under 30 hours. That's what SteamDB says. The median is 30 hours.
Yeah, I below that.
Most people I know have played thousands.
I've broken that median quite badly.
Yeah.
God, I don't even want to do the math for how many people I am based on the median. I don't know if I would call what I do play anymore. But no, it's a tough one. So you talked a little bit about how it changes, how you now need to do the open order. You used to be, and maybe you're dead now to this, but we'll see. One of the units I used to love watching do volleys.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk through why you used to do volleys? What was the technical and tactical reason for it? And then how did this gameplay, or if it, I already know the answer it has, how it has changed your view on volleys?
Yeah, so for the effective way, or it used to be, to engage a large, tight formation was with volleys. Because independent fire was bad. Just bad. It wasn't very accurate at most ranges, right? So if you're a tight line spread out, you're a tight line fighting a spread out unit and they're independent firing you, you're not gonna take that many casualties. And if you hit any of them, they're taking more because they're probably in skirmishing. So if you kill one of them, you basically killed 3 the way the game works. If they kill one of you, you've lost one, right? So anyone skirmishing in front of a large formation was at a direct disadvantage. So to counter that, you'd make your own big formation, and if you could win the fight that way, in a very fun cinematic way, you would win at least the position, maybe the battle, but you would take the position away. You could organize charges. You could wait for the enemy to volley and close with them, and try to charge them out or get close and hit them point blank volley to up your chance of killing somebody. It made the game cinematic, realistic, fun, and a balance. Right now, with this update, that's dead. Making a tight line and giving volleys is now pointless. The only reason you did do it, and the only reason they did in reality, was to make up for the inherent lack of accuracy. Now, you can debate if that lack of accuracy was due to the rifle or the people shooting the rifle. Historically speaking, right, the devs themselves said that the reason why the accuracy was the way it was that in 1862, your average draftee didn't have time to train well enough with a rifle to shoot accurately. They couldn't utilize the inherent accuracy of the rifles they had. So the Napoleonic tactics came back, where you make a big line, everyone shoots all at once in the same area, you're going to hit somebody with enough bullets, right? That's the same thing that happened in the game. It made sense. Now it's every guy with a rifle is so accurate now. He's basically the best trained soldier in his fucking unit, but they're all that way. So making a tight line is now useless. You're going to get shot to shit, and you can see it most of the time. If anyone's not like shooting, for example, right? If they're maneuvering on somebody and that group is just they're independent firing at them, they're winning. The people shooting are winning. So if you're going to take time to form up, you're going to die. And when you move up in that formation and they're sitting there, whatever, you're going to die. They're going to shoot you. You know what I mean? Just make a thin line, independent fire it, and you can win almost any match. You never have to fucking move. They took the fucking point last match and just didn't leave. They just made one line from one end of the field to the other one, and they shot anyone that came near them because they could do that. It's happening right now. One thin line, all shooting at random people independently, and the Union team's probably going to hold this for a long time, if not the whole match, unless the fucking Rebels can figure something out.
I mean, the big problems on this map, on this strategy I've seen is the tickets for the Union are kind of low, and the CSA Arty, if they actually put guys on it, has a beautiful view of the Union line by inflate.
Oh, it's a USA camp, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean the tickets are bad, right? What the Rebels should do is hang out in the woods in front of them and then pin fire at this big long line in the fucking field.
Yeah, it looks
right?
like one unit's doing that.
And they'll probably end up winning.
Looks like more are coming over here. So yeah, who was over here? It was PB. One of the PB guys was over in the woods.
Yeah. So there's a big line. There's a big thin line right now. They're all independent fire. They're shooting at the people maneuvering on them on the right side. All those people died. The tickets reflect that. Now the Rebel team's going to move to a different flank. Now, if the Rebel team stays in the woods and shoots these guys right now that are advancing on them, complexes guys, they will win this. They will kill almost every one of these guys. It's going to be whoever stops first is probably going to fucking win the engagement.
And yes,
like
Kafka, yep, this was one of the ones that they patched with the 10% on tickets, which I still think might be low.
The Union team is charging. That's crazy.
But, this is, I think, going to not be a good thing for Complex here.
No, they're going to get murdered. They lost. By the way, they lost. That looks about fucking like 7 or 8 or maybe 10 guys before they made contact with those guys. And that was with a massive number advantage and cover. So they run over the first 10 Rebels. Now here's the line behind them who's going to probably murder them. Legion's going to kill them all. I mean, what are you going to do?
No, this
not, by the way, that they're, fucking charging with a third of their team. But, I mean, they weren't going to make it anyways.
Let's see.
And now the tickets are going to be pretty bad for the Union when they mop this up.
Very brave of them, Mike. Yep. And yeah, the pistols. Well, I will say with the 500-player server, I hope they do look at the restrictions on only 16 on Cav. I hope that does get increased, but that's a whole other balance issue. And since they haven't released 500 yet officially, I'm not too worried about it.
No, they haven't released 400 yet either, by the way. But yeah, again, instead of they just need to add 2 companies, man. Like. They need to do that before they added the 5-second spawn time and see if that worked, because that would be a more long-term solution. What are you going to do now if they make people spawn at 2 seconds? 2.5 seconds, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because 500 plays is too many people to fucking, even on 5 seconds, with 4 regiments. You know what I mean? You could be in a 100-man fucking unit. You die. It doesn't matter if...
Both armies by 1862 had a pretty good mix of veteran and new units, and the training, there's a volley that's useless now.
Yeah. And you can see they didn't do anything.
Yeah, but the purpose of the volleying, and I guess just from a historical perspective also as well as.
Look at that. Did you fucking see that? So the Unions in a line, get a volley off. The Rebels made a line half their size, did a volley, killed fucking 9 of them in one shot.
Yep.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 9 guys down in that unit, which is crazy to think about as a volley in a thin in your voice a little bit. Now at very low quality.
Oh, did it low? Ooh, let me see what's slowing me down here. Go ahead and talk. Go ahead and talk without me for about a minute.
Yeah, you're fine. I was looking at another example of the Rebels trying to attack the Union in a caisson position, and they're just gunning them fucking down. The Rebels are getting torn to shit trying to make this attack in this piecemeal fucking way, with a unit maybe half their strength total. It's just hard to fucking attack any position with cover against a unit that doesn't have cover is, by the way, they're tenfold in an organized event. Because everyone knows what the fuck they're doing, right? And they're all tightly organized. They're all focusing to find the same target. They know what they know what they're doing. This gets way worse. The events I played last weekend were just boring, frankly, because nobody wanted to move anywhere. No one really wanted to make an attack. They tried, and then you get murdered. So people just end up defaulting into open order, hanging out in rocks and shooting at each other from across the map, which I don't think is very fun. And if you think, if you don't think the game's fun as an organized unit, you just won't play the game. You know what I mean? And that's bad for everybody, including the pub players.
Wouldn't it be better if we deployed to the left and then push the hill on the
Yeah, I'm trying to see what's eating up my internet right now. Which usually I don't have this problem.
Get that Google Fiber in, man.
I've got 2 gig.
Oh no. I believe in you.
Yeah, this is very low right now. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to continue with this.
Goddamn. You're back now, at least on the stream. But it's definitely coming and going. For sure. You're not downloading it, are you?
It's dying. It's dying. We'll see if I can figure out what it is here, or I might just have to scrap it. Hold on, I'm gonna exit out of this real quick and come right back in.
Yeah, welcome back. You're making a hell of a charge happening right now on the fucking Rebel team.
Let's see if I can get over there to catch it.
The Union team, Daz is hanging out to the right of these guys. I don't think he sees them yet. The stream is...
There goes Legion.
Yep.
Is it back up?
The stream's caught up, but it is very far behind. But that's whatever. You could just do a restart if you wanted to, but it's... he just said usually you don't have this problem, which I think was like 3 minutes ago. 2 gig internet, yeah.
Yep, he did.
Daz is letting the Rebel army walk right past him. That is crazy. Yeah, it's catching up to all the stuff you're doing, Kotow, now.
We'll leave this for a little bit, see if it...
Yep, let him cap. I'll be to our benefit.
We'll see if it's caught up. It's kind of strange. I usually don't have problems on the internet side. Usually it's just my GPU. I do pay a lot for the internet, so I'm kind of surprised by that. I was having problems all day today too with the internet, so it might have just been my provider's kind of fucking me right now.
Who's your provider? Oh no.
Cox. A name like that.
Yeah, well, yeah, nothing like that. Holy shit. Is there the Rebel team just got... They're like dancing around each other right now. It's so strange. There was a charge from the Union team, but like it was a quarter of their team. Rebels killed that. But now they're falling back trying to chase, I think is his dad's group, who's running circles around the camp. This is chaos in here.
Yep.
The Union's gonna win though.
You know, it's not getting better. So, as soon as I say that, I start getting another bar here. Wait a
stream
second.
has been running this entire time.
Wait a second. We doing better now? All right, we'll let it go for a little bit. Connection just shot up a shitload, so. All right, if it drops again, I'll kill the stream. But in case it does, if you had any anything else you want to cover on the ballistics piece?
No, and also I can confirm the stream is now 100% accurate. We're on the money.
Let's go.
We might be good for a little bit now.
Yeah.
I had to,
Anyways,
there was some background programs I had to fucking nuke, so hopefully that'll...
That's fine.
Going to the front. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just seems like odd changes, not letting the community have any control over stuff. Because Trusty says it doesn't want to develop 2 games or 3 games, and I'm like, that's not really what that means. That's not at all what that means. It's very disingenuous to say that. You already changed. You changing a percentage or integer in a file someplace. Let us do that on our private servers. That's it. That's not developing 2 games. You're doing the same thing. You're just leaving it an option to revert it or change it some other way. It's not like calling you're spending resources doing 2 different things is not accurate, and I don't like that. It's very disingenuous. To the reality of the situation, because again, they said the same thing about the 5-second spawn timer. We're not going to develop 2 games, and we found a workaround because they left it in the game where you just type in 2 lines of code and change a 5 to a 10.
No, and again, as the game continues to develop, it might be that everybody eventually arrives at a location. But it's again, if you released 400-player servers, or especially 500, I don't know if anybody would object to going to 5-second now for everything.
No, I think you're right. The problem was, that came about when we were playing 250-player servers, and it changed the game entirely. You do a 500-player, if you could get 500 people in a server consistently, there is definitely not a 5-second spawn time because you can still make attacks with 5 seconds with that many people and have it work out kind of because you just have so many fucking people. Now that coupled with the accuracy, I'm not so sure about anymore. I don't think the 5-second matters at all anymore. I think this has overruled everything. That if you are in a place and the unit is in front of you is moving and you can see them, you are going to kill them before they get to wherever they're going. Most of the time, they're going to get there useless if they have anyone left at all. And that keeps happening here. Anytime someone is spotted going someplace and a either equal-ish or even less than equal force sees that and engages them, those guys don't make it. It keeps happening. Both sides. Whoever gets into place first and sits there gets to shoot off wins, unless they have like double their number and it can like jump them all at the same time, right?
No, it makes it very tough. It's a very first mover advantage. Type of mechanic. And again, mechanics drive tactics, guys. That's why you have changes in technology, mechanics. You have changes in tactics. Not to get into the history, but that's what happens.
4 existed because of machine guns, right? They decided to do it and then make machine guns. And this accuracy thing is going to make it so that no one is going to fight in the way that they used to. And unless they're like, LARPing. For example, Daz right now, he's in a big line. He's volleying in a forest with about maybe, 9 people in front of him. But he's doing that because he likes to do it. It's not effective. It's not actually more effective than it was before. And in an organized event, it makes it fucking really hard to do. I mean, we'll see how many kills right now. Let's see. There was maybe 10 people in front of him. That entire line.
Yeah, I'm zoomed in. I'm zoomed in now, yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to get really close and watch them.
Meanwhile, they're getting picked off a little bit by random assholes, by the way.
Yeah.
This whole time they're standing out here.
Yeah, it's even less than 10. It's like 4 guys. It's just the way it looks.
Yeah, so he's doing for LARP, which is fine. It's cinematic and it's cool, but it's not. Again, if someone met him in a line, in that wood line, they would. Here it goes. I don't think a single man died.
I saw 1 or 2 flags go down.
So again, that's like your LARPing, right?
Yeah.
But
So
the
there were 4 men here. There are now 2 men here. You killed 2 men with that volley of.
So if the rebel team, if Ghost or whatever brings his line over there in that wood line and meets him in that field, Ghost will win because he has cover and concealment. He does, and Daz does not.
Now, as you said, I think Daz is LARPing right now because they haven't even recapped. I think they're just waiting to go back to the next.
No,
map.
they're not. Yeah, the point is behind and nobody on it. They haven't even retaken the point yet. So it's like, what are they doing really?
Yeah, I think, like you said, I think they're just LARPing for now to get to the next map.
Meanwhile, if you look over at a complex, the guy who's getting most of the fire, his line's getting torn to shit. There's dead bodies everywhere on the left end of the line on that hill.
Sorry,
because
I'm calling the call back.
Yeah. And that's not Complex's fault. I mean, necessarily, he's holding the fucking. He's trying.
I mean,
it's
that hill's an important position. I would default go there too. I think.
Oh, one of these fucking units is Sharp unit. I just never realized. That's why their lines are so fucking big. Yeah, 17 people on Sharps in a 500-player server. We probably said this is 350. It's like that's what the normal cap is right now. That's not enough fucking Sharp rifles.
No, even on 350, I think the 16 is low. But again, that's one of those things that was left over from the 150 days. You know,
they just never got around to unfucking it. And it's super simple. Change the number.
It's
people have been asking for that forever.
Yeah, I mean, it's I got it. It's alpha, but it still feels like a very
here's a charge
ad hoc development cycle. It's like change. All right, another change. All right, another change. Example. It's not like, okay, how do we get all the changes together to work in one cohesive piece? You can say, well, that's not how a development cycle works. I'm like, dude, you have the game released for 6 years. Are you still really in alpha?
It's crazy. Yeah, no. Also, if you look now, here's an attack happening from Daz's guys. Our CSA trying to attack the right flank of Daz's dudes. Now, they've blown over Complex because he's been outnumbered like a motherfucker. They shot him off the hill and then ran over him. And they bypassed Daz. Now, if you look, Daz, his guys have taken a significant amount of casualty increase. Just there's a line of bodies because the rebels got close enough to see him and they started shooting at him. Now the rebels are moving past Daz and his guys. Now, if they go anywhere near Daz and he makes a line and sits there, that he's going to kill everyone who gets there. Gets near Daz and his big line, which is happening now. There's a unit running past point. The unit staying there is getting killed on that rock, even though they have cover. This is too many dudes.
Oh, they did recap. I thought they were just throwing the map. That's interesting.
What was going on over there? It's like the Sharps unit recapped just about.
I thought they were just ending the game. All right. I mean, you know, cool. Go for it longer. I'm good for it.
There's still a rebel unit on fucking blowing back there, killing a handful of the rebels.
Yeah.
Union guys.
Yeah. Especially on a pub match, you might as well keep playing until it's over. It's
No, yeah. I mean, yeah. Play the for sure. But yeah, I mean,
let me rotate back over to Daz, and that unit that was in front of Daz
hasn't moved, by the way.
No,
he hasn't moved in this almost entire match for the most part.
No, that line is gone now. That CSA line that's in front of him, it's down to a few people. Yeah. I mean, it was outnumbered to begin with, but yeah, to your point, it's a very close range, though. You know, it's not like
no, it's close range. And another thing too is it's close range. Bucket ball means nothing because I can hit you accurately rifle at close range too now. So why do I even care?
Yeah.
About bucket ball.
I can't confirm because I got shot with it the other day. There is now the bucket ball does give you wounded damage, as opposed to
that
kill.
overpass 33 yards. So it can be worse depending on how far away you are than a rifle. Yeah. Even if you're within 50 yards, it might be worse because you might just wound some people instead of actually kill anybody. And then every time they hit you, they're gonna die.
So it's a hell of a debuff to what used to be. You know, everybody used to be, I want bucket ball. And I was damn it, I got bucket ball.
It's not good. It's not good that everyone wants to pick bucket ball, right? That's not good or fun or accurate, but mainly it's not fun. They flipped it now, well, no one's going to pick it, which is the opposite problem. If you're going to put it in the game, you want that to be a choice that players make. That's the whole point of a fucking video game, right? Is you have a little bit of choice on how you want to play the game. They keep kind of taking it away by springing back and forth between random shit. And I don't think it's good long-term for the development. I mean, bucket ball is fun to use. It should still be a viable thing. It's just to have a niche. There's no niche for it now. There's no point in fucking in using it because you're just accurate close range with a musket loading it rifle than you are than with a bucking ball shot. Well, with you in 30 yards, you can't miss anyways.
Yeah.
So what's the benefit?
Yeah. I've discovered I can run this thing without Steam, without YouTube up, which is crazy to me, saving me so much bandwidth.
Oh, that helps a lot because you're not downloading your own stream simultaneously.
No, I usually do that just to do editing in real time, but I'll just nuke the stream if I need to.
Yeah.
I don't have this monetized anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
No, I mean, I agree. Rebels are getting fucked up now on the right flank. They're in a line. The rebels in the camp are in a little cover, and they're killing the fuck out of them. The attacking team rebels. They're getting their shit blown out, and the tickets are reflecting that.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
wow.
It's yeah, they are. They really are. I don't know, man.
Yeah, you can watch them drop, dude. Look at them. If you hold their line, you can see dudes fall every time a shot goes off. Somebody drops. I'm counting like 20 bodies already.
Yeah, I'm gonna zoom in on it for a bit.
So again, they're in a line in the open.
All enemies.
The Union team's in cover and concealment a little bit more. And I'll be honest, even the complex in that line, and he's in a little line in between the tents, he's getting fucking nailed. Because he's the only fucking large target to shoot at. But everybody else on the left flank and right who are independent firing are staying alive and killing people. And complexes do half that number maybe? Or close to? A little under?
Let me look. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would... it's less. It's less by a significant number.
Yeah, and they're the rebels are losing.
It's hard for me to tell because they kind of clumped up versus the CSA
God,
that's, you know, in a big line. But, yeah.
Dude, pan over the rebel line right now.
No, I see
it.
It
Is.
Yeah, I
Look
got
at that shit.
I got the shot up now, yeah.
That's unnerving how many people are dying and how quick.
So here's something about so now I think I hate the fucking word, but the meta is now this open order.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing.
I see some problems with it. What problems?
I mean, my main contention is it's not fun. That's just it. This is not fun. That's all I got. It's just not as fun to sit there in a fucking little line and shoot at dudes across a map.
It's not. It's not dynamic. It's very you know, okay. And yeah, again, getting a big fuck you line and shooting can be fun, but you know, is it fun for 6 hours or 4 hours a weekend, or 4 hours a week?
Yeah.
Probably not. I'll play the game. I had some fun, and I'm dunk out at 30 hours.
I mean, exactly that. So now you see the rebel team's not running. Now Daz showed up, but Daz didn't even get to shoot them. They were dead before he even showed up. I mean, look how many people left behind. That was like half the rebel team, man. And the tickets, I mean, golly, dude. It is so hard to attack a position now. In 5 seconds, it was hard to do that. Combination, this is fucking brutal, dude. You know what I mean? It's brutal. If the rebels did ever take that camp from them, I don't think the Union team would be able to get it back.
And yeah, diffuse. I mean, it has been. People have used it a lot, and it can be useful. The one-man spacing. There are some problems with it even here, but I'll leave that for now. There's a way to really make it hurt. But I'll let people come to that eventually. But yeah, it has been a meta, and this makes it more exasperated. I would agree with that.
It's a meta for not losing Gazu, sure. It's not a very good meta for actually defending a place or doing damage. And also, again, if you lose a couple key people, you now have 2 skirmishing groups.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, you 20-man line spread out, you kill the 4 dudes in the middle. Now that's 2 groups of 10 that are kind of in skirmishing-ish.
Well, that's the you already hit it on the head. So the key weakness of it is it's very easy for me to make your 1-man spacing 3-man spacing, especially with accurate shots. Mm-hmm. If I target every other man, and I train to target every other man, or if I target wings, and I get you to space out, you lose command and control quickly, and guys are sitting there plunking because that's what I've been doing.
So here's a great example. Daz has now put his entire unit in a line in front of the CSA team. They got their ass kicked, and they're all in cover and rocks. I expect Daz to lose this. He just did a volley and hit fucking 4 guys because they're all in cover. Now I expect him to get fucked up over time. He's on the fucking Union, I guess, left, where the Rebels guys were.
Yep,
so they're in cover,
I'm on him now, yep.
Independent firing, and he's in a line giving volleys off. I guess we'll see who comes on top. Here comes the volley.
I'll have the flags up so we can kind of see how many go down.
He got 3 of them.
3.
They got the flag and 2 other guys.
And you can
Meanwhile,
see how many are
over
going down
here-
for him.
Yeah, he's lost already maybe 15 guys. 16. 17. 18. 19. Yeah, I mean, it keeps going. And he got looks like 2 more on that one. And the flag.
I'll watch from the CSA perspective now to see it a little bit easier.
I mean, you can count the bodies. Total bodies over here for the Rebels are like, I'm counting maybe 15. And for the Union, it's like double that already. And that's just like, and that's not, I mean, keep on, he has half the fucking team on his direct command right now. That's, his line is 80 guys. 87 dudes right now. And that group over there has got to be like maybe 40. Half of them are fucking leaving, actually, right now.
Yeah, I just watched that incoming volley, nothing.
And look at the ticket differential, how it shrunk again. Now that these pistons are swapped. They were up by almost a whole morale state, or at least half of one. Now they're back down to a quarter in a short amount of time. Nothing's really happening on the other flanks. Oh, actually, on the right flank, they're also in a line in a field fighting dudes in cover and losing that too. The Union team is.
That might be that might be part of it too.
Both flanks are getting nailed by independent rifle fire, which is like, you know, lame. It's cool to make big lines do big volleys. I wish it didn't suck. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. There was a reason to make lines before, and it made sense, and it was a choice you could make if you wanted to. You could not do it and have a different way of doing a thing. Sometimes it works, right? Now, which there's no point in doing it. And I think it makes the game more boring. Personally, I mean, unless you're LARPing, you know what I mean?
Well, even if you're LARPing, it's you know, it's at some point, you know, it's a repetitive experience. You know, there's nothing to it.
Yeah.
Careful, soldier. There's fucking cannons in this Terranor line here.
Yeah, man, I don't know. It's just a bit of a bummer. I wish the devs were a little more transparent with the community, a little more like accepting of some of the feedback they give instead of dismissing it out of hand, which kind of seems to be the default. The default is like, oh, you're not the community, you're just our angry Reg player. Because I guess, you know, we're not in there every day stroking developers' dicks about whatever the fuck they say. Like some people that are in there do, which is, you know, it's disheartening because it feels like, you know, I've spent fucking 5 years of my life playing this game. I've organized one of the longest running events. I'm second in command of the first unit in the game 9 years ago, still existing. You know what I mean? It feels like they don't give a shit about us. And that's the sentiment shared by most of the regimental community.
Let's go back to our
And it's a bummer. And it can, I'll be honest with you, man, you only take so much. If the game keeps going in a direction that doesn't seem to appeal to the people keeping it up, they just won't play the game, man. And then you won't have a game to play. Anybody will. Which would suck. I would hate that, personally. Obviously. People like to think that apparently, like, you know, there's like some conspiracy that somehow the regiment players that spent the most time, most money in the game want the game to fail. I don't understand that logic. Like, if we're spending all the time over the years and all the money to play the servers, why would we want the game not to work? You know what I mean? It's the exact opposite. We want the game to exist long term. It's these like random people that show up that don't care about the game. Are not going to play it another 30 hours anyways. That are the issue. You appeal to them, but they don't give a shit. They don't care. They're still not going to play the game, whether they don't like it or they don't like the racism or they don't care about the fucking the genre or it's the fucking thing they want to dick around for the week because it's on sale. They're not going to be the people that stick around and keep the game afloat. So it just sucks when the field devs only want to appeal to these guys. I mean, the last 3 updates have been basically to them, to their favor for the most part. Besides the weird water waiting thing, which is just kind of like a weird whatever. But you have the 5-second spawn update. You have the
I mean, you know,
thing, and now there's an NCO thing.
Yeah, I mean, the 350 server was a nice thing.
Oh yeah, that was fun. No one complained about that. Everybody wanted that. You know,
yeah,
there's no issue about that.
I mean, I enjoyed the zombie mode for what it was. I wish they let us play more than 2 weeks out of the year.
Yeah, the zombie mode is something else. And right now, the Union team's about to lose the game.
I will say I was very happy with the drill camp maps.
I like those maps